When your baby turns 1 year old, I know it can be so exciting, having a big birthday party, doing that cute little cake smash, having a great photo shoot, and all the things, except when your baby goes through this 12-month sleep regression and all of a sudden their sleep goes from amazing to a load of crap. So when your kid hits the 12-month sleep regression, parents, like, they always reach out and say, sleep was going so amazing and now all of a sudden it is garbage. What the heck happened? And how do I get sleep back on track? Generally in these situations, parents have been accustomed to getting great sleep, sleeping through the night, having their baby get sleep and sleeping through the night and being in a great mood when they wake up in the morning. And then all of a sudden they're not, and parents are like, whoa, wait, pump the brakes. This is not my kid. This is not my life. This is not how sleep goes in this house. So I can totally understand that parents are eager to make a change, like take a hard left and go right back to how sleep was. But unfortunately, that is not always the case. When there is a sleep regression, it is important for parents to be patient and understanding that a sleep regression can last 2-ish weeks. Now, of course, it can last a little bit less than that, and of course, it can last a little bit longer, but 2 weeks is generally the average. Now, you might be wondering, why is this happening? There's a couple different reasons why the 12-month sleep regression happens, and number one is basically because your child is growing leaps and bounds developmentally, mentally, socially, emotionally, all the things. Your child may be taking their first steps, learning how to walk, learning new words, waving hi, saying bye, blowing kisses, doing all of the adorable things that you want to soak up and not be too exhausted to enjoy. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like, this is totally developmentally appropriate. And as much as you don't want to hear that, it should also be encouraging that most kids go through this phase. Another thing that can cause this sleep regression is the 12-month molars. Now, this is your child's first experience getting molars, and hate to say it, there's a lot of me hating to tell you like these things and breaking the news that molars hurt like a mofo. Like, I think that's why they're called molars, because they hurt like a mofo. Anyways, your baby is bigger and older than obviously they were probably when they got their first teeth, although my kids like did not get their first teeth until they were like 8+ months old. But there are some babies who are getting teeth between 4 and 6 months old, and their ability to communicate with you has changed as they are turning 1 year old. They may be able to point or touch or tug at, maybe they're tugging at their ears because they're feeling the pain and pressure back here. So just keep an eye out for those signs. There are some parents where I'm like, is your kid getting their 12-month molars? And then the parent's like, I have no idea. I haven't even checked inside their mouth. And then they look inside the kid's mouth and they're like, oh my God, there are these huge chompers coming in. Take a look inside your child's mouth, and some parents will say, my kid won't let me in their mouth. Who's the parent? Who's the child? Open your kid's mouth and check and see if they have molars, because there are things that you can do to help make them more comfortable, and especially at night when they're laying down and that pressure can become more increased and the inflammation overnight could be more intolerable for your child. So take a look inside their mouth and see if they're getting their molars. Anyways, let's move on and talk about what you can do during and after this 12-month sleep regression to get your child's sleep back on track. The very first thing that you want to do when your child is going through any regression at all is to stay consistent with your response to their wake-ups. Now, I don't care if your child is waking up at 10 p.m., 2 a.m., or 5 a.m., or anything in between. You need to be consistent with how you react to them waking up. If you are throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying 50,000 different things to get your child to go back to sleep, it's just gonna end in a disaster. Trust me, mark my words. It is not going to be a good turnout. You need to stay completely consistent in how you respond to their wake-ups. And to be quite honest, I'm gonna recommend that all you do is go in, check on your child. I call these wellness checks. Go in and do a wellness check. Make sure that your child is well. Make sure they're not like having limbs stuck in the slats of the crib, because that has happened so many times. Also, make sure that your child isn't in pain. Make sure they don't have a fever. Make sure they're not, you know, completely soaked in urine or have pooped in their diaper. Make sure that your child is well, and then give them some love. Give them hugs and kisses. I'm not telling you not to love on your kid, all right? Love on your kid, but let them fall back asleep independently just as they did before the sleep regression. Your job as a parent is not to put your child to sleep. That is, like, so many parents, I can't even, oh my God, it gives me a headache. It is not your job to put your child to sleep. Whenever I hear, I can't get my kid to sleep. It's not your job. Your job is to make sure that your kid is comfortable, that they are well taken care of. That doesn't mean that you have to put them to sleep, but that you are loving on your child. I'm gonna move on because like it's just a whole separate video that I could rant about jobs that parents think is theirs, but it's not, because it's their child's job, because your child is a human and not a robot, and you can't make your child do anything. You can give them the most opportune and perfect environment and timing and love and this and that and all the things. It's not your job to make sure that your child is asleep. It is, okay. I'm sidetracked. Okay, number 2 is to keep your child's schedule consistent. So as long as you are giving your child naps at the same time every single day and putting them down for bed at the same time every single day and waking them up in the morning at the same time every single day, this too shall pass. Do not change your child's routine or drop a nap or anything, just anything. Don't change anything a day or two into a regression. You will not change anything until it has been more than 2 weeks. And also another like huge thing that I can't handle when parents do, like it just drives me batty, is when they just cold turkey drop a nap because of a couple nights of a sleep regression. Sleep regressions don't mean that your child needs to cold turkey cut a nap. If it's been several weeks and then you need to maybe cut back on how much nap time sleep they're getting, then we will do that. And this is why I always like will tell you to hire a sleep consultant, even just like one phone call to talk to a professional about what has been going on, and troubleshooting from there is going to do you so much more like positivity than randomly Googling things, asking in a Facebook mom group, or just like cold turkey cutting a nap because you think it's time. So trust the professionals. It may not be time. Another thing your child may be dealing with is separation anxiety. This is something I talk about in a totally different video over here that you can check out after you finish watching this video. I am not gonna go down the separation anxiety rabbit hole because that is another topic for a different day that I actually already talked about. So check out that video next. But if your child is dealing with separation anxiety, there are definitely some things that you can do to help them get through the separation anxiety and also to try to keep their sleep on track. Although during a sleep regression, let the sleep regression regress. Number 3 is to keep your routines consistent. Do not change your bedtime routine. Do not change your child into a toddler bed, or, oh my gosh, please do not put your child in a toddler bed for at least another year, hopefully 2. Like die hard crib till college. Keep their bedtime routine exactly the same as it always has been. This is not a time to make changes. Tip number 4 is that this is a perfect time to introduce a lovey and to let your child sleep with a desired object in their bed if they have a strong attachment to something. This is another one of those things where parents often will say, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna do this so that my kid can have a lovey, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's called a lovey because your kid loves it. They love the item. If your child is like carrying around a blanket or a stuffed animal, or you're noticing something that they are playing with a lot during the day, this is a time where your child can start sleeping with a lovey in their bed. So if they don't have one, don't worry about it. If they want to attach to something, they will, but it is not necessary by any means. It is just a thought that if your child does have an attachment to something, this is a time where it is developmentally appropriate and recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is a mouthful, but it is a recommendation that you wait until 12 months to have anything in the crib. So if they have that strong attachment to something, now is the time that you can actually allow them to have it. Tip number 5 is to continue encouraging your child to self-soothe. Now I know that we already touched on going in and doing a wellness check and making sure that your child is okay, and also not throwing spaghetti at the wall to try and get your child to go back to sleep. You also want to make sure that you are allowing your child to self-soothe. You are not putting your child to sleep. You are not staying in the room until your child falls asleep if you weren't doing that before. Anything you weren't doing before, do not introduce something new. It is just something that you're gonna have to end up cutting out of your routine after your child goes through the sleep regression. So just don't introduce anything new at this time. Continue letting your child self-soothe as usual. Just remember that this sleep regression is temporary. Just like every other sleep regression that they have had before, you have seen it come and you have seen it go. It will pass. Don't get discouraged that sleep has like gone shot to hell and that it's never going to get better. It is going to get better. It is going to pass, as long as you don't introduce new sleep prop associations. Do not start rocking your child to sleep now if you weren't rocking them to sleep before. Remember, sleep is not broken, it is just interrupted. If this sleep regression is lasting longer than 2 weeks, then I want you to consider doing a schedule shift, cutting back on naps. Do not completely drop a nap, but consider making a change here or there to their schedule by 15 to 30 minutes. We are not making any drastic changes at this time. If you need help with a one-on-one consultation, check out my packages in the description box down below. Don't forget to check out the video on separation anxiety if your child is going through a little bit of a hard time with separating from you, and keep blooming. Mwah.